We've got an exciting day planned for you today. Today is our Latin America focus day, which we believe has been set up quite well, given that we had the CCA breakfast this morning. There's a few of those attendees in the room, and if you've come over from that session, thank you for attending ours. Hopefully you'll find that we're diving even deeper into the Mexico market this morning. We've got an industry expert with us this morning who actually does business in that market, and he's going to talk to us about what his organization is doing in that particular marketplace. So let's move into Mexico, and I'm going to introduce our keynote featured speaker. And Mexico is a very important market for a lot of us, and it's one of those markets that gets a lot of attention at a show like the Global Petroleum Show. It's one of those markets that has a national oil company, and one of those markets that national oil company is actually responsible for 100% of the production. So therefore, when Brian Gibbs, who I'm about to introduce, is working with that organization, he's got a lot of key learnings based on some of the success stories and some of the challenges that they've encountered. So I'm going to introduce Brian. Brian Gibbs is the president and CEO of Extreme Energy Group. In his past life, he was the operations manager in the oil and gas division at Lane Christensen, and Brian has a BA at Athabasca University. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Brian.
Morning. I've been working in the oil and gas industry for 22 years, principally in the service and design and manufacturing end of things. I'll just give you a little information and background on the company that I'm president and CEO of today. It's the Extreme Energy Group, and essentially we are a manufacturer and service provider that sells products throughout North America and around the world, but one of our primary markets today is Mexico, and our primary client there is Pemex. And we do a wide variety of stuff that we're currently marketing in Mexico: drill rigs, hazardous storage containment, drill bits, rentals, things like that. So I'll just run through some of this real quick. We do all of our manufacturing right here in Alberta, and export most of our equipment, as I said, throughout North America and around the world. Extreme is currently in execution of a $90 million contract to provide drilling equipment and maintenance operations in Mexico. Obviously, this is what we're here to talk about today, but there's been numerous challenges, and I'll get into some high-level detail on some of the things that we've seen in the market, and I guess if there's any other, you guys want to get into some of the particular points, we can get into those later. So just high-level snapshot: Mexico, size, population, GDP. Probably most important point, Alberta in particular. For people that are other companies from Alberta that are doing business there, we export close to $1 billion to Mexico annually, which shows a great marketplace. Exports from Alberta to Mexico have increased 1,200% since NAFTA was put into place, and is a great tool for Canadian companies. So Pemex, as referred to earlier, is an NOC, which can present some unique challenges, but they are currently, depending on who you talk to, the 10th or 11th largest oil company in terms of revenue, et cetera. Biggest enterprise in Mexico and Latin America, the highest fiscal contributor to the country. The one thing about NOC that I'll touch on later is that Pemex in particular, because they are the only oil company, does all the stages of oil and gas development, and that's why virtually anybody in our energy sector here can find a home in Mexico with Pemex. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about production and stuff, because that's really why our friends in Mexico need us and our technology from around the world. But Mexico historically has exported about 1.4 million barrels a day, principally to the U.S., and current consumption is roughly around 2.1 million barrels a day. So essentially what they've historically exported and what their internal consumption is outstripping their current production. Again, depending on what expert you talk to, they have fairly significant reserves between 14 and 35 billion barrels of oil and 11 to 20 trillion cubic feet of gas, the 11th largest recoverable reserves in the world. Most of it consisting of heavy oil, which obviously in Canada is really our principal expertise nowadays. And you know, that's one of the things that we have that is very exportable, is our know-how and knowledge. So Mexico, as late as 2008, was producing over 3 million barrels a day, and current production has fallen to, you know, somewhere around 2.5, 2.6 million barrels a day, depending on the field and what's going on day to day. But essentially, they've been in decline the last few years, and this is one of the primary reasons, again, that you know, companies from the U.S. and Canada have very big opportunities. And I think there's been some fluctuations in the market that we were just discussing earlier, and it's similar to some of our market development here, that Pemex needs some time to figure out what technologies to apply to certain fields, because the analogs vary from region to region, just like they do around eastern Alberta and western Saskatchewan. So the challenges for Pemex in Mexico, meeting domestic demands with the increasing population, meeting current export levels, continue to generate internal revenues for the country, which is a huge part of their internal revenue source and employment in Mexico. Doing business in Mexico, I'll just touch high level on you know, some of the things that we've had some issues with, challenges, et cetera. The obviously, you're dealing in a foreign language, Spanish. Mexico's come a long way. I started working in Mexico 20 years ago, and it was rare to find anybody that spoke English, where nowadays in the fields, and especially in the big city centers, English is fairly common. But as a corporation, having to deal with contracts, new laws, regulations, and things like that in Spanish, what you would normally go through here will be 4 times fold the cost and time that it would take, and things like that.